Okay, now that we have all of our components built, and I didn't finish all of mine, but I did at least 2 of each one to demonstrate this next part. I want a single headshot that can act like an avatar designer. And so I want to extract each one of these components into a separate component. So I'm going to start with this first piece of hair. It's already been converted to path, so it's a simple path, and I'm going to right click and go to extract as component. This changed the name here to component A because on the left it is now a separate component, and I can actually see a preview of that hair next to the component A. But let's go ahead and change this name so it says straight bob. And then I want to be able to use this later on, but it created this component like exactly in the same place as it was in my worksheet. So to fix that, I'm going to grab that hair and just move it a little bit until it gives me a transform, and then I'm going to change the X and the Y position to be 0. Okay, now when I use this hair component, the hair will be centered at the origin as I drag it onto my canvas. Okay, let's do it. Oh, but when I come back to my worksheet, it looks like the hair disappeared. And that's not actually what happened because it got changed to this component and I re-centered it. It just moved up to the origin and I have to drag it back over my number 1. Okay, so I'm going to do that again so that I can have both of my hair pieces as a component. So I'm going to right click, extract as component, and then I'm going to give it a better name. So in this case, this is, I'm going to call it braided hair. And I want it centered around the origin, so I'm going to just grab it and move it a tiny bit until the transform shows up, and then switch it to be a 0, 0 origin. It moved it off of my viewing window, so if I click on reset zoom, it comes back to the origin and I see my hair. Okay, again, that same thing happened, so when I go back to the worksheet, it looks like it disappeared, but it just got moved to the origin, so I'm going to move that back over my head. Okay, and then we're going to do this with each of our components. So I want my bangs to be a separate component. We'll call that bangs. And I will right click. Oops, I meant drag it until I see some transforms and then set it to 0, 0. And that centers it on the origin. I'll come back and recenter my bangs from my worksheet. And then I have one more piece of hair. So I'm going to extract as component, and since it covers my eye, I'll call that emo hair. And let's recenter it on the origin. There we go. And then take that hair and place it back on our head. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my eyeballs. I only drew one eyeball, but when I take that eyeball and create components, or extract a component, you can do this where you're only drawing one eyeball, or if it's more natural for you to draw both of them, you can. But I'm just going to draw one. I'm going to reset that to the center, and then now when I go back to my worksheet, I'm going to use that same eyeball. Okay, so it got pushed to the origin. But I'm going to just copy and paste because I want to reuse that component. And I could leave it where they're both looking to the right. That looks fine. Oh, maybe I actually want to tilt it a tiny bit. So let's see if I can flip horizontally. Okay, now he looks like he's looking at a light source in front of him. Okay, that's creating everything as a component to get ready for the last step where we want to make our actual avatar designer.